All right, think about this for a second. Every single day, you plug your phone, your laptop, or your tablet right into a standard wall outlet. When you do that, you're tapping into a raw electrical voltage that is literally high enough to cause catastrophic damage to your delicate electronics. It would fry them instantly. Yet by the time that energy actually makes it to your device, it's been magically transformed into a perfectly safe, perfectly stable 5-volt output. So how exactly does that happen? Well, in today's explainer, we're going to trace the fascinating, super high-speed journey of an electrical current from that raw wall outlet all the way to your phone. We're doing this by completely demystifying and breaking down the inner workings of what's called a switch mode power supply.
If you were to crack open a normal charger and just look at the green circuit board inside, you'd see it's actually strictly divided into two completely distinct zones. On one half, we have the primary side. This is where the energy first enters from the wall, it deals in high voltage, alternating current, and it is incredibly dangerous. Then, on the other half of the board, we have the secondary side. This is the low voltage, direct current output where everything is perfectly safe to handle. The entire architecture of this board is built around one massive, non-negotiable rule. The lethal energy on that primary side must never, ever directly touch the safe secondary side.
To see how this is even possible, here is our structural roadmap for the explainer. We're going to walk through 6 stages. 1. The basics of the power supply. 2. Protection and the line filter. 3. Rectification and high voltage. 4. Oscillation and the transformer. 5. The secondary side. And 6. The incredibly smart feedback system. Let's start right off with Section 1, the basics of the power supply.
The secret sauce making all this work is a concept called galvanic isolation. And honestly, this is absolutely brilliant. The electrical current crosses over from that highly dangerous primary side to the perfectly safe secondary side without any wires ever actually touching each other. There is a literal physical gap on the circuit board. So you're probably wondering, how does the energy get across? Through the magic of magnetic fields. The primary side turns electricity into a magnetic field, and the secondary side catches that magnetic field and turns it back into electricity. It's kind of like throwing a baseball across a river instead of building a bridge over it. Moving right along to Section 2, protection and the line filter.
The very moment electricity enters the board from the wall, it's greeted by what I like to call the bodyguards of the circuit. First up is the fuse. If a component fails and tries to pull way too much current, the fuse blows and sacrifices itself so the whole thing doesn't explode. Next to it is the varistor. If a massive voltage spike comes surging down the power line, the varistor intentionally shorts out, which forces the fuse to blow, saving the board. Then we've got the NTC thermistor. This little guy absorbs the initial shock or inrush of current right when you first plug the charger in. Finally, the current passes through a filter coil and X and Y capacitors. Basically, these act like noise-canceling headphones, scrubbing out all the electrical interference so your device gets clean power.
But here is the crucial point to remember. Even after passing through this robust, heavy-duty filter, the electricity hasn't actually been transformed yet. If you hooked an oscilloscope up to it right now, you would see it's still an alternating current, waving back and forth at a slow, standard 60 Hz sine wave. It's completely unaltered from what's in your wall. The protection circuit just ensures it's safe for the board to work with. And that brings us to Section 3, rectification and high voltage. So we have a major hurdle. Your smartphone, your tablet, they absolutely do not run on alternating current. Electronic devices need direct current, or DC, which flows smoothly in one single direction. To fix this, the board uses a rectifier bridge. This is a really clever arrangement of 4 specialized diodes. Think of a diode like a one-way valve for electricity. By wiring 4 of them together in a specific way, they literally flip the negative parts of the AC wave upward. So instead of a wave going back and forth, you now have a pulsating direct current moving in just one direction. It's moving in one direction, sure, but it's pulsating, which is definitely not good enough for delicate electronics. So the circuit uses a massive electrolytic capacitor to fill in the gaps between those pulses, smoothing the whole thing out. And this brilliantly illustrates the real stakes of this primary side. That capacitor acts as a reservoir, and it fills up with a highly dangerous, perfectly steady 300 volts DC. If you were to unplug the charger right now and touch the wrong part of the board, this capacitor would deliver a super nasty shock. But we now have our high voltage, direct current ready for the big jump. Which leads us to Section 4, oscillation and the transformer. This is the core of the whole operation. We have 300 volts of steady DC, but we only need 5 volts. How in the world do we step down that massive voltage using the incredibly tiny transformer found inside a phone charger? Well, if you fed 300 volts of steady DC straight into a tiny transformer, it would act as a short circuit and instantly explode. Small transformers require alternating current, and they require it to alternate incredibly fast. Enter the brain of this stage, a specialized IC chip, like the DK14. This chip uses a MOSFET, which is basically a high-power transistor acting as a switch. This switch takes our steady 300 volts DC and violently chops it up, turning it on and off thousands and thousands of times per second. It converts that steady DC back into an incredibly fast, high-frequency alternating current, well over 10,000 hertz. But chopping up high voltage like that creates a massive physics problem. Every single time that MOSFET switch turns off, the magnetic field inside the transformer collapses. And when it collapses, it sends a massive, lethal reverse voltage spike right back at the switch. If left unchecked, this would destroy the MOSFET instantly. To survive this, engineers use what's called a snubber circuit. It's a tight cluster of a diode, a resistor, and a capacitor acting as a vital energy shield. 10,000 times a second, it absorbs and dissipates that lethal spike, protecting the switch and keeping the entire system stable. Thanks to that crazy high-speed switching, the transformer can finally do its job efficiently. Just look at the data here. Notice the dramatic difference. On the primary side of the transformer, we're seeing massive, dangerous swings of roughly 500 volts peak to peak. It's violent and it's dangerous. But as that energy leaps across the magnetic gap, remember our galvanic isolation. It induces a much smaller current in the secondary coil. Over on the secondary side, the voltage dramatically drops to just 36 volts peak to peak, which translates to a completely safe real power, or RMS, of just 5.7 volts. We have officially crossed the border. Welcome to Section 5, the secondary side. The energy arriving on the secondary side is safe, but it's completely chaotic. It's high-frequency AC, and your phone needs perfectly clean DC. So a new team of secondary components go to work. First, an ultra-fast rectifier diode catches those high-speed waves and forces them into pulsating DC. Next, a secondary electrolytic capacitor smooths out the ripples. Interestingly, there's also a special Y capacitor right here that physically bridges the dangerous primary side and the safe secondary side. It's heavily insulated and acts as a safe pathway to eliminate internal electrical noise without breaking our isolation. Finally, a small inductor gives the current a last little polish. The result, a perfectly stable, clean 5-volt DC signal. All right, our final stop, Section 6, the feedback system. We have clean 5-volt power, right? But we are not done, because we have one final critical problem to solve. What happens to this delicate 5-volt output when you suddenly plug in a heavy load, like a completely drained smartphone that instantly demands a massive amount of power? If we didn't have a way to adapt, plugging in your phone would cause that 5 volts to crash instantly and the charger would fail. We need a feedback system. At the very end of the output, there are 2 tiny resistors. Think of them as the system's eyes. They constantly sample the final output voltage and send that precise data directly to a component called the TL431. The TL431 is a programmable voltage regulator that acts as the brain on the safe side, constantly comparing what the voltage is to what the voltage should be. Let's look at how this builds into an absolutely incredible sequence. Step 1. You plug in your phone, and the output voltage instantly sags under the heavy load. Step 2. The TL431 detects this drop in real time. It reacts by dimming a microscopic infrared LED located inside a component called an optocoupler. Now step 3, this is where it gets crazy. The optocoupler straddles the gap between the safe side and the danger side. On the danger side, a phototransistor literally watches the light from that LED. When the light dims, it senses it. Step 4, it tells the primary IC chip that the voltage is dropping. The IC chip reacts by keeping the MOSFET switch turned on just a microsecond longer, pumping more energy across the transformer to boost the power back up. All of this communication is happening using a literal beam of light across the isolation barrier. No way, right? And it works both ways. If the voltage gets too high, the LED shines brighter, and the chip slows down the switching. This push and pull is happening hundreds of times per second. As our source material perfectly sums it up, this is the intelligent control of switch mode power supplies. Simple, efficient, and brilliant. It is real-time analog automation, constantly adapting to the load, keeping your 5-volt output rock solid no matter what you plug into it.
It is literally a marvel of modern engineering hiding inside cheap white plastic. You have high voltage being chopped up, magnetic fields leaping across physical gaps, lethal spikes being absorbed, and a microscopic beam of light adjusting the power output in real time. So I gotta ask, the next time you plug a simple charger into the wall to juice up your phone, will you be able to picture this high-speed automated dialogue happening invisibly inside? I know I for sure will. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep staying curious about the world hidden just behind the outlet.